All right, good afternoon. Do a quick recap of the Florida game. I think we start off with just a great environment in Tiger Stadium. Excited to see our fan base come out and create a great atmosphere for our football team. Again, I think what's important to point out was an incredible individual performance by Jaden Daniels, who certainly put himself as a Heisman candidate with that performance. But it's been a body of work that certainly, I think he's number one in the nation in total offense, passing touchdowns, rushing yards by a quarterback, pass efficiency. Just an incredible night of offensive football and scoring 52 points, over 700 yards in total offense. Again, the offense ranks top 10 in the nation in 9 categories, number one in the nation in total offense, pass efficiency, and plays of 20-plus yards. Also, Jaden Daniels was named the SEC Offensive Player of the Week, and Charles Turner was the SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week. So those awards keep coming down on this offensive group that has been elite all year. So it was fun to watch them. And again, a gritty performance by our football team. We weren't perfect, but our guys played hard for 4 quarters. And respect the competition, being in the SEC, that you're going to get everybody's best. And I thought we got our opponent's best Saturday night. We flipped the script now and, get ready for a Georgia State team that, obviously comes in with nothing to lose, everything to gain. And for us, still about, looking towards, getting better each and every week. This will be about our preparation. This will be about how we get better in all facets. We want to continue to work towards, our offensive production being consistent week in and week out. We have players that are, certainly at the pinnacle of their particular position that want to continue to stay there, and certainly defensively continue to grow. We're playing a lot of young players. We want them to continue to get better at their craft as well. So excited to be back home again, and we finished the season at home. It's been obviously for us difficult road games. Our team has battled, put ourselves in a position now to finish the season strong. So we'll open it up to questions.
Hey, Coach. You mentioned, you talked a little bit after the game about him, but Josh Williams, just watching the film, he had some really prolific blocks that really helped open that game up for Jaden. Just can you talk about it from that perspective, how important the run blocking from your skills players has been this season, and how effective that has played in y'all's offense?
Yeah, I think you just have to look towards some of the key plays in the game, and in particular the long runs. You don't run down the field unless you have others that are committed to making sure that occurs. And, we all talk about the offensive line, and they've been outstanding, but you have to have receivers that are committed to that as well, and running backs. The one you're talking about in particular with Josh was the edge block that he made on their defensive end to free up Malik Neighbors on the flip, what we call our speed sweep. So, yeah, you're getting it from a number of different players that are setting up an unselfishness, on our football team, and in particular on the offensive side of the ball.
Hey, Coach, people see Jaden's highlights on the field. What can you share about him off the field as a leader? What makes people gravitate to him? And he came here not knowing anybody, right, and had to win over the whole team. What have you seen in that whole process with him?
Approachable. And when I say approachable, he's never been a guy that has built a bubble around himself. He has been a guy that has, I think, made himself available to everybody on the team, whether it's an offensive player or a defensive player. And I think that, when somebody comes in and transfers in, their guard is up. His has always been one where, he's been approachable. He's always been somebody that has reached out to others on our football team. And I just think that's made our entire team embrace him because he's been so readily available to everybody on our team, not just the offensive players, but the defensive players. And his demeanor, his personality, you see him smiling on the sideline all the time. That's the way he is, whether he's in meetings or whether he's in the football building. He has that personality, and I think it's infectious.
Yeah, Brian, right here. Considering where Jayden was, say, about halfway through last season, when kind of still reluctant to throw the ball downfield, y'all were still trying to learn what he liked. Have you had a quarterback in your career take this big a jump in one season, and what went into that?
No, I'd be hard-pressed to think of a quarterback that has made the kind of leap that he has made to where now you're looking at somebody that is clearly a front runner for the Heisman Trophy, and I don't know that I've had somebody make that kind of jump. And I think that it starts with it was in him, and I think he had that upside, and it's probably one of the things that we saw in wanting him to transfer here is that we saw a player that could be elite, and it was a matter of him having the confidence in himself, and then the development process needed to take place. So I think all of those things coming together, and then having the confidence in himself to go out and do it, and it certainly has been fun to watch.
Coach, when you have a quarterback have that kind of success, how much does it help you recruit quarterbacks, or is that more to do about who's on the depth chart at that time?
Well, I think in certain instances, if Jaden Daniels was coming back next year, it certainly affects it in some fashion. Or let's say he was a sophomore, it certainly would affect it a little bit, right? But now that he is certainly in his last season of competition, it opens up just the fact that, player development and the ability to compete for the Heisman Trophy exists at LSU because it's not only right now, but it happened a few years ago with another LSU quarterback. So now you're starting to build not an accident, but a trend here at LSU. So that obviously speaks to recruiting and the ability to recruit elite quarterbacks to LSU.
Hey, Coach. Jimmy Lindsey was back in the fold with you guys for this past game. What is he sort of doing with the team, and how is he sort of integrating back with you guys?
Yeah, he has just finished his treatments. So he is in a part-time capacity, really. We're so excited about where he is medically, but there are contingencies in terms of what he can do. He's not out there, 15 hours a day and doing those things. But we're gradually, for his own health, we're bringing him back much more in an administrative role right now.
Brian, how much have Mike Denbrock and Joe Sloan factored into the giant success that this offense and Jayden have had this year?
Yeah, look, there's an offensive coordinator that is responsible for orchestrating this, and play calling, has a lot to do with it. When he's not, when the offense is not running well, Matt House has gotten a ton of criticism this year as the defensive coordinator. If our offense isn't going well, Mike Denbrock will get a ton of criticism for, what would be happening on offense. So he deserves a lot of credit for what's happening on the offensive side of the ball. He is, he's the chief play caller. So that comes with the job, right? That comes with the title. But it is a shared responsibility. Joe Sloan is intimately involved in everything we do. Cortez Hankton is. Brad is, Coach Wilson. Frank does an incredible job in factoring in a number of those layers as well. So there's somebody that's going to get a lot of the credit because of the title. But everybody has a shared responsibility. And when it comes to the quarterback, Joe Sloan should get, a lion's share of the credit because he's in that room with them every single day.
Hey, Coach, down here.
Oh, yeah.
Overall, first of all, just injury report for the week. John Emery maybe.
John Emery has an ACL tear, so we'll lose him for the season.
And I just wanted to ask, we obviously lots to talk about Jaden for the Heisman, but what about Malik Neighbors? He may be in contention for the Blitnikoff Award. What have you seen from him this season? What do you think about his candidacy?
I think he's the best wide receiver in the country, and I'm sure that Coach Day is going to say that his guy is the best, and I totally understand that. But Malik Neighbors, in terms of what he does, on jet sweeps, what he does in terms of yards after the catch, catching the ball down the field. I think he is, multi-dimensional in what he does, leading the country in receiving yards. I think he's the best receiver in the country and deserving of being a Blitnikoff Award winner.
After the game, you identified Josh and Noah as being contributors. Have you been able to identify anybody on the defensive side of the ball that could help push the program forward in a similar way?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I was talking to them, I'm talking about an unselfishness amongst a group of really talented players. One of the things we lack a little bit is the depth, on the defensive side of the ball. But I think a group that has been unselfish this year is our defensive line. We have a lot of really good players, that are fighting for reps, quite frankly, and trying to get as much playing time. A guy like Parashan, for example, who had an outstanding play on quarterback outside the pocket, who's had a really good year for us. He's not getting 50 reps a game. He's somewhere in that 30-something to 25, 30-something, and he's been an unselfish player for us, I would say, Jacobian Guillory, he's been an unselfish player for us. He's been in the 15 to 20. So I would say the defensive line probably ranks similar to the running backs. It's really the only group that we can get too deep in a swing. Everybody else, it's tape them up and see if we can get two guys out there.
With some coaching changes going on, the portal window kind of is already opened for some teams with guys. Now that y'all are closer to the 85-man limit than you've been these past two off seasons, what's that process like as you balance the roster and incoming players from high school and potentially the portal?
Sure, good question. I think now, really selective in terms of the needs for our program. As I've said, and I've made this very clear, we want to build it with freshmen. So this freshman class is going to be a large freshman class, and we want to build it there first and foremost. But there are areas that we want to be able to top off with some premier players. And, obviously, if you're looking at the wide receiver position, if we went into the portal there, you have to match it up with a guy like Malik Neighbors, if he ever went early. I don't think he will. Well, obviously we'll find out, but, if it's a guy like that, right? You have to look at the talent that you have in your program and measure it accordingly. So that's one side of the ball. The defensive side of the ball, then you're measuring the talent that you might lose on defense and be able to measure it accordingly. So it's measuring the talent accordingly to what's available and who might be out there. But it's building it with the freshmen and then, finding the particular players that might measure up to the players that you have in your program.
Brian, I know you probably were hoping this would be over last Thursday night, but when you talked to us Thursday, but the targeting call on Andre Sam, did the ref, did he make the decision on his own, or does he, I'm trying to get a timeline on how it works. Does he get help from the upstairs, like they rang down, and does he talk to Birmingham, and did they make the final decision on that one?
So there was no flag on the play. So that means that there was no call on the field. So they were buzzed. And they were buzzed that there may be a targeting on the field. So that's what stopped play and brought them to review. and upon review, it was determined by the replay official that there was targeting on the play. So where my confusion was the week before was that never was there an official underneath the hood, so to speak, on the side, where they bring down and you actually look at the play. So I was confused that, why wasn't it reviewed? They have subsequently said it was reviewed. Well, my question was, well, why is it reviewed one way and not the other? So you don't need the referee then to review, I guess. So I was just confused as to the process of reviewing. In one instance, there was a review without the referee involved, and on the other one, there was a review with the referee involved. So I was asking for a clarification as to what the process is, because I wouldn't know in that instance that there was a review or not.
So on Saturday night,
There was a review.
replay official, he ultimately made the decision.
Yes, yes.
Right up here, second straight week now, we've seen some of these freshman defensive backs get some really large work. Toviano, Stamps, Ryan Yates had a pretty big role this last weekend. Just how important is this last month for them in terms of just getting the on-field experience for their development this offseason? And just how have you seen them maybe grow in these 2 games that they've really
Yeah,
stepped up?
it's absolutely crucial for all of them, and whether they're freshmen or in their second season of competition, and for some, their second season of competition is not much either. LaTerrence Welch hasn't played very much. Jordan Allen hasn't played very much. He played a lot on Saturday. So even those guys that are out there, it's absolutely crucial, first of all, that they're on film, because we've got to be able to teach off of the film that they have. And then be able to correct and build some confidence with them moving forward. So these are crucial times for them.
Kind of back to Ron's question about Jayden last year. I was just curious what that exit interview with him looked like to you, or your memories of it as you sent him off on the off season, kind of the checklist of things that he's needed to work on, and how much did he really knock it out of the park? Or has this been a process throughout the season?
Well, it was a re-recruitment. It was talking about, coming back and recruiting him back and the things that we could do to help him. So once he made the decision that he was coming back for another season, it was then, okay, well, here's the plan. We laid out a comprehensive plan that went from January all the way until preseason camp. And, he invested in it as well. He used his own resources to, throw out on the West Coast and spend time with, people that allowed him to develop. So this was an all-in on both sides, and including Jayden wanting to, put himself in the best position once he made that decision. So there really wasn't an exit interview as much as there was once a decision was made, was, okay, here's the plan, here's what we have for you, and then he letting us know what he wanted to do as well, and then just coming together and executing the plan.
Looks like you had a little fun at Chris Doring's expense this morning.
Oh, we did, and that's hopefully something that we continue to do. Now, I guess we won't do that next year, so he'll.
No, next year you go there. You go to Florida.
Oh, do we go to Florida?
Yeah.
Okay,
Then after
well,
that, we don't know.
I haven't looked closely enough at the schedule, so that's good for me.
Try to get him in another costume next
Yeah,
year.
there you go.
From the outside, it seems like one of Jayden's best improvements is going through his progressions, not taking off too early.
Yes.
Is that one of the best things to you, or what is his biggest improvement to you?
The deep ball, pushing the ball down the field with accuracy. I think we all watch games and watch the quarterback, as I call it, ice the puck, throw it out of bounds, not have a chance to make a catch. He's been so good at the deep ball and, being able to hook up on those big plays. I think, one of the things that we do, in fact, lead the country in is plays over 20 yards, plays of 20 plus, 87 of them. And that has to do with certainly runs after the catch, which we're prolific in, but the ability to throw the football down the field would be one. I would say two was in the pocket progressions. I think that is equally as impressive in terms of his development.
Given your, appreciate the hockey reference, by the way.
Thank you. I was trying to keep us thinking about hockey here in Baton Rouge. You know, it's on the peripheral a little bit, but I kind of like it.
I have to explain blue lines after this. Given your nature of past in politics, how do you approach award season and campaigning for your players? Do you try to subtly do it? Do you bring out the hammer? What's your approach?
You know, I used to be low-key about it, to be quite frank with you, but when you have when you have the opportunity today, I think you have to be able to talk about your players when they're doing something that's so special, and in particular what Jayden's doing. I think it's my responsibility when I have this opportunity in front of the media to talk about something that I haven't seen happen in my 3+ decades as a head football coach, somebody that has developed and has excelled at an elite level. And he's an exciting football player. I think he's the most exciting football player individually in the country, and I think it's my responsibility to talk about it.
Jayden's passing numbers are a lot better than last year. His rushing numbers are better than last year too, which might be surprising. Is that because people are having to respect the pass more and it's clearing those lanes for him even more to run when he wants to?
Well, Jack, you would think that there's got to be a way to defend him. Last night or Saturday night, they overload pressured. And what their hope was with overload pressure and then faking overload pressure, that there could be some confusion for him. It really took him, probably 2 or 3 times to see it, and then once he saw it, he was able to handle it. So the big difference is with him is last year that might have taken him 2 games. He sees it a couple of times. We're able to make the adjustments for him, and then he moves forward. And then if you don't have another look for him, you're going to have some problems. And that's where he has made incredible jumps.
Why do you think he's so elusive? Even when people get to him, they can't keep his legs, they can't get his ankles.
I mean, we've talked about this in with our strength and conditioning team. You know, his training and the way he trains. I mean, I know he does not look like he's strong, but he is sinewy strong. I mean, his fiber in terms of how strong he is amazing, and his fast twitch. All of the things that require elite athletes to be, he has all those things, and our strength team just marvels at the way he works out. And you're seeing that come to light in the way he plays. Guys have a hard time wrapping him up.
Hey, Coach, any comment on Jimbo Fisher or Zach Arnett being let go?
Yeah, I mean, it's, in our profession, it's unfortunately that time of year where decisions are made, and they're tough decisions. Those are good men, and I know them both. They love coaching. Tough decisions are made at this time of the year for whatever the reasons are. Each university has to make what they consider to be the best decisions for the direction of their programs. But, the human side of it is I'm a coach as well, and they're good people. They're good fathers, good husbands, and, you hope that they, obviously land on their feet. Thank you.